swiftest storm that learns your name. The storm arrived without clouds. The sky above the valley lay open and pale, stretched thin like linen left too long in the sun. When the first whisper brushed Mara's ear, it was not thunder, it was not wind. It was something closer to breath-low, intimate, deliberate. Mara. She froze at the kitchen sink, her hands submerged in cooling water, a plate slipping from her fingers and cracking against the basin. The sound echoed too loudly in the sudden quiet. Outside, the fields stood motionless. The old ash tree by the fence did not sway. Even the birds seemed to hold their breath. She told herself it was memory playing tricks, the way grief sometimes did soft hallucinations dressed as familiarity. She had moved to the valley to escape that kind of thing, to live somewhere where the world was simple, soil, weather, seasons that arrived on time. The whisper came again that night. This time it rode the wind. The storm rose out of the western hills like a living bruise, clouds folding into themselves, churning with a density that felt intentional. Lightning flickered within it, not striking, merely watching. The air grew heavy, metallic, thick with the scent of rain and something older, stone, ash, forgotten prayers. As Mara lay awake, the storm circled the valley but did not break. Thunder rolled in low syllables, measured and patient. Mara, it murmured, threading itself through the walls, the floorboards, the hollow behind her ribs. She pressed her hands to her ears. The sound did not lessen. By morning, 3 houses on the ridge lay in ruins, roofs torn open, windows shattered inward, as if punched by invisible fists. The names of the dead traveled faster than the rain, whispered in the market, spoken carefully over cups of bitter coffee. The storm had spoken them first. Old Lena swore she heard it say her husband's name moments before the lightning took the chimney. A shepherd claimed it whispered to his sheep before the hillside collapsed. Always the same pattern. A name spoken once, softly, then destruction. And every night, without fail, it spoke Mara's. The villagers noticed. They began to look at her sideways, as if calamity had learned her shape. Children stopped waving. Doors closed more quickly when she passed. At dusk, someone nailed a ward to her fencer, circles scored into iron, rusted and trembling, meant to turn attention away. It did not work. The storm lingered longer each night, rotating above her house like an eye that refused to blink. Rain traced careful paths down her windows, slow as fingers. Thunder gathered itself into syllables. "You are not listening," the storm said one evening. Clearer now, resonant as mountains grinding together. "You have forgotten. I don't know you," Mara whispered, though her knees had buckled and she was sitting on the floor, palms pressed to the cold wood. "Leave me alone." The lightning struck the ash tree, splitting it down the center with surgical precision. The smell of burning sap filled the air. "I have known you longer than this name," the storm replied. Sleep abandoned her. Memory began to surface in fragments, sharp and uninvited. Dreams of standing barefoot on stone slick with rain that burned instead of cool. Of raising her hands to the sky and feeling it answer. Of voices kneeling. She sought the oldest thing she knew. The ruins sat beyond the northern marsh, half swallowed by moss and time, Stones curved inward, forming what might once have been a sanctuary or a warning. Symbols were etched into the pillars, weathered but familiar in a way that made her chest ache. When her fingers traced them, the air stirred. "You remember," said the storm, gathering overhead, though the sky had been clear moments before. The rain fell upward. Memory struck her like a returning tide. She remembered another body, another name spoken with reverence instead of fear. She remembered being the mouth through which the storm spoke, the hand that guided its hunger. She remembered bargaining with villages, sparing crops for devotion, holding destruction at bay so long as she was remembered. She had been its anchor, its god. "You bound me once," the storm said, its voice no longer cruel but wounded. "You wore me like a crown. When you died, you took my name with you. I have wandered without language, without rest." Mara staggered back, breath tearing from her lungs. "I didn't ask for that life. You chose it," the storm replied gently, "and you chose to forget." Lightning struck the stones, illuminating carvings of a woman with arms raised, hair braided with clouds. Her face was unmistakable. The storm leaned closer, pressure dropping until her ears rang. "I am not here to punish. I am here to be known." The valley trembled. If she refused, it would continue to speak names until nothing remained. Not out of malice, but because hunger, unremembered, becomes catastrophe. Mara closed her eyes. She knelt where she once had stood. She spoke not loudly, but truly. She spoke the storm's old name, the one that shaped wind into will, rain into restraint. The syllables tasted of iron and ozone. The sky shuddered as if struck by recognition. The storm exhaled. Clouds loosened. Thunder softened. Rain fell properly, washing ash into soil, grief into ground that could still bear seed. When morning came, the valley was quiet. The storm no longer circled. It moved on, purposeful but restrained, carrying her voice within it like a compass. The villagers would speak of that season as a mercy, how the weather learned gentleness again. Mara remained. Sometimes, when rain brushed her skin, she felt a familiar presence pass overhead, not whispering her name, but acknowledging it. And when storms came to other places, people swore they heard something beneath the thunder, not a warning, not a threat, but a name spoken with reverence, as if the sky itself remembered who taught it how to listen.